Mad Catz MC2 racing wheel. I play with it on my lap.
What is up, guys, and welcome to the very first episode of AOR. This is a Return to a League Racing website that I have not taken part in since the OG days. Myself, Noble2909, X-Matty G, TRL Limitless, ACR Raven, Torano Tigger, all those guys are finally making a return 3 or 4 years later, but this time it is for the Oceana League. So essentially, I'll be racing with other Australians, New Zealand, Singaporeans, anyone else from this, kind of Oceanic and Asia region, and the best of the best from this kind of area of the world will be duking it out for the AOR World Championship. So here we are for the first race. This is the Hungarian Grand Prix. The reason why we're starting off in Hungary is to be in line with the current AOR leagues in PC, PS4, and Xbox One. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that montage as well. Some of my earlier clips from my early AOR racing career. Shame I couldn't get some of the clips from my F1 2010 stuff, but back then I didn't have a capture card and it was real nasty with using a laptop webcam to record my races. That is how far we have come, ladies and gentlemen. But maybe I'll do a video on that in the weeks to come or months to come or whatever. But here we are for AOR Hungary. You can see so far we're sitting in P4, and this lap that we're doing so far is actually a bit of a worldie. We're 5/10 up on our previous best, which is a 17.6. It was a solid banker time from what I remember, and this lap itself wasn't actually going to go ahead. I thought I'd go ahead, see what the lap would be, and if it was going to be crap I'd pull into the pit lane, but sure enough, it was amazing. 1:16.881, and that is by far the best time I did in practice. Doing your PB in the actual league race qualifying, that's a rarity, especially for me, and I knew straight away that was an amazing time. Retired straight away, and now we watch the rest of the field try and chase us down. So we have a lot of very high caliber drivers in here. New Zealand Ryan, Zezzy Amy from F1 2016, Dominator, Warden, Fens, Aaron, Palms to the win. A lot of guys who are looking to get the title of AOR champion. There is a lot of prestige in this league, and everyone will be working extra hard to get it. That's why I think this league in particular is going to be so damn tough to win the championship in, because it has that AOR branding right on top of it, and it just makes everyone practice that much more for it. But here we go, first race. And we're on pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'm sorry I didn't really talk about the session much. I was more just building up the series and talking about it. But there you go. We start on pole. Unbelievable. Unbloody believable. We've got a pole in the first race. Let's convert this now into the race, which is now raining. So we have, I think, intermediate conditions. It looks like it's set to dry up. You can see here on my setup, I'm running with, this is actually a time trial setup, in all honesty. That's why I was mega fast over the course of one lap. I felt like in the dry over the course of the race it would have been fine. But in the wet, I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see how this goes, fiddling with the brake bias to make sure front locking isn't too much of a thing. But yeah, let's get this race underway. Hopefully we can get off to a good start. So here we are then, ready for the start of Aor Hungary, round number 1 here. You would have noticed possibly that I was going hell for leather on that formation lap. I wanted to get a really good feeler of what the conditions were like, how much grip I had under the car. And in all honesty, there wasn't a whole lot much of that. So this race here is going to be very interesting to see whether I hold on to this lead here. Hopefully, like I said, we can get off to a good start. 5 red lights, and we will get this season underway for Aor Oceana. Looks like a fairly nice start off a pole there. Proza, Zeziami alongside me, got off to a shocker, and he's lost the spot already to New Zealand Ryan before we even get into the braking zone. Into turn 1 now. New Zealand Ryan on my left-hand side, trying to overtake me around the outside there. Nothing really doing there. And we maintain the lead. It's all I could have asked for. I was dreading like a massive mistake on this first lap. That hasn't happened. We're easing into it and just making sure that we consolidate this starting position that we have at the moment. It's very hard to overtake around Hungary, and I want to make that to my full advantage if I can. You can see purple lap on the first lap doesn't really mean anything, but if we can continue those purple laps into laps 2, 3, 4, 5, whenever the rain stops, that'll be very nice. But as you see, their first flying lap was a 34.3. I think Warden set a 33.8, so half a second faster than us, a little bit further down a field. But yeah, the conditions, very, very tricky. As much as I'd like to blame the setup in being a time trial setup, I think for the most part I was just struggling because I don't do any wet weather practice. This is something I really need to do more practice of, and you can tell I was just really out of my depth here. New Zealand Ryan looking very racy on me at the moment. He goes to the outside through turn 2. He's been very patient through this whole process as well, just following me through himself. He probably doesn't want to make mistakes either, and just wants to get some good points in this first round. But he gets a really nice run out of turn 4, I think it was, as we go up the hill. Nothing really doing there. He couldn't find the overlap and get the move done there through the final corner. Looks like a nice exit. Nice straight exit. One of the best I've got so far. And as we go across the line, we go purple. 33.7. So around lap 4, lap 5, we actually found a bit of a sweet spot with the conditions. We started to get into the rhythm of things. But as we head on to the end of lap 5 and start of lap 6, we get the notification that the track starts drying up. And then again, it was really annoying as well, because like as soon as that happened, the track started drying up, and then I all of a sudden didn't have any grip anymore. It was just this really narrow window of like a lap and a half where I was comfortable and fast. The rest of the time in this first stint, I was absolutely struggling. As you can see, as the track dries out even further, I was struggling more than what I was at the start of the race, which is actually really terrifying because guys around me are overtaking me, they're setting purple lap times, and now we are really under the pump here. Switch back on Ryan, bit of contact made, but he gets through for the lead of this race. It's just a case of us now trying to stay with him, try and stay as close as we can now and make sure we're, you know, within striking distance when the rain period stops. That's a massive lock up into the middle sector chicane. First warning for corner cutting, which is not what you want. You only get two more warnings after that before you get a penalty. So we'll need to watch that for the rest of the race. Really bad run through turn 1, and now Zeziami, or Prosa is his name, goes into P2. So yeah, as the track was drying up, I was starting to struggle even more. It was really bad. I didn't really know what I could do there. That's Prosa actually hitting the wall there through the middle sector. I thought for sure he lost his whole front wing, or at least half of it. But as we got the inside here into the middle sector, we try and take P2 back. We got a nice close look at his front wing there. He actually doesn't have any damage. He got no damage from that excursion off the track and into the barrier there. I don't know how he got away with it, but he did. But we're into the pits now at the end of lap 9, going on to the medium tyres to run to the end of this race. It was a very close call as well between going from the mediums or the softs to run to the end. I think if you go with the softs, you can make them last from about like lap 12. So we're 2 laps away from that, but some people did gamble on that. Warden has gambled, and actually New Zealand Ryan has gambled on the soft compound tyres as well. I think their logic was that with the very wet track, it wasn't going to be as much tyre wear for those tyres. So it's going to be really line ball for those guys to make it to the end without punctures. I think that was Master Berserk exiting the pit lane there, across the white line, because there was just no grip. and yeah, he might have got a penalty from that. But as you can see here, we've lost so much time. Through this whole pit stop phase, I had a really bad in-lap, really bad out-lap, slow out of the pit lane. I've now got a corner-cutting penalty, and now we've got Warden for company to chase us down for the rest of this race on the softer compound of tyre. So he's going to be very fast. You can see he goes for a move up the inside into turn 1. The medium tyres, like I said, they're very durable, but they're slow. They are really, really slow, and we're having to negotiate a worldy battle here with Warden. He goes round the outside through turn 2. He will have the inside for the next left-hander. He squeezes me too much, and we have to go off the track there. Had absolutely no choice. Otherwise, there would have been heavy contact, would have side pod glitched, and we both would have been in the barriers. So, yeah, really close call there with Warden. We continue to watch him as he goes through that fast right-hander, missing the apex every single time. Track extending, but in all honesty, I don't think he was gaining any advantage there. If anything, he was losing time. The amount of times that he did that, I felt like he should have learned from that. But anyway, we go through the final corner on the last lap. New Zealand Ryan wins the Grand Prix, and he takes the lead of this Aor Oceana Championship. I think Proza and Fens were having a very close battle for second and third, and I think Fens actually won that battle in the end there. So that was the first race for Aor. We're actually going to do another race now for Aor Spa. This is what I did yesterday, as I record this now. I feel like that race that we just covered there was a little bit of action, but I felt like it wasn't almost upload worthy. So I want to do 2-in-1 video, if that makes sense. So we'll go off to Spa now. 12 points for us in the championship. Really, I just nursed it home to the end, to be honest. I had the penalty looming over my head, and there was no way. There was just too much of a gap to the cars ahead, so I just kind of consolidated P4, if that made sense. But we now move on to Spa, a track which I have a little bit more confidence in when it comes to getting results. We start qualifying off here on the wrong foot. Fens has his car just completely lag into my path on my flying lap, mind you, and we had to abort that, and that was the end of our run. So with the nature of Spa being such a long track, you only get 2 runs in qualifying. We've lost our first one, and now we have to do this second run without a bankers. So everything is on the line here. If we don't get a time in here, we'll essentially be starting in last place. So a lot of pressure on for this qualifying lap. We go through turn 1, really nice exit through there. A good pole time around here would be a low 43. And I did a 1 minute 43.3 in practice the day before this took part. So I'm hoping to get somewhere close to that at the moment. I think the pole time right now is a 43.7 from New Zealand Ryan. So there is definitely the potential to beat that. You can see we're 1/10 slower through the first sector. To be honest, most of the lap time is made up in the middle sector and third sector, so that's completely fine. But going through to this, I don't even know what this corner is. It really induces understeer a lot. And the quicker you can get through there, the better. Through the no-name corner, 5th gear, really flowing through there. Absolutely beautiful. This track is really nice to drive on F1 2017. We go through Puon now, flat out in 7th gear, just a light shift down. And it gives you better exit speed by shifting down into 7th. You can take it in 8th gear, but you bog down and you lose actually a little bit of exit speed by taking it in 8th gear. But fastest lap is now set by VSR Fens, our teammate who blocked us in our opening run. So yeah, that's a really good time from him. We'll hopefully try and get close to him if we can. I wasn't looking at the timing screens at all over the course of this lap. We go across the line, and it is, again, a 1:43.4. Very, very close for all of us in the top 3. All separated by under half a tenth. That is ridiculously close on a track where times are not normally so close. Often you can be on pole by many tenths or half a second sometimes. Such is the nature of this track. But somehow 3 of us are within half a tenth. It's ridiculous. So yeah, we're getting ready to start this race. Thankfully this one is dry, and we'll be doing the 1-stop, pitting on lap 4 or lap 5 to run to the end on a set of soft compound tyres. We have a little bit of rain as well heading our way for the end of the race. Hopefully a switch to intermediate tyres isn't warranted, because again, like you saw in the Hungary race, I don't rate my chances in the wet. I did a little bit of wet weather practice in the build up to this race, but again, I wasn't quite at the level where I was hoping to be. Okay, thanks Jeff. I don't know why, but Jeff never works in online. He just goes completely silent, so that's not really helpful to us at all. But as we grid up for the start of this race, iFens has actually disconnected in the qualifying to the race loading menu. 5 red lights for this Belgian Grand Prix, and we are underway from the front row, the makeshift front row of the grid as we head into turn 1. Let's hopefully keep it clean. There's a bit of contact actually with New Zealand Ryan as we go through turn 1, so not a great run through there. Chimchar had a massive dive bomb behind us and actually got himself up into 3rd place, chipping off a bit of his front wing and actually Zezzy Amy's front wing as well. So that has kind of cleared the path up behind us and allows myself and Ryan to just get on with this race. Warden as well, I didn't mention in qualifying, he's last place. He is well and truly down the field and starting on soft compound tyres. So we've got up to a clean start. Ryan is right in front of us. You guys saw in the SRL league race that I did a few days ago, maybe even a week ago, this was the exact scenario we were in that league race. So I've got a lot of confidence that I can beat Ryan in this race. I've got a faster setup and I've gone faster as well. So yeah, I'm rating my chances here to get in front of Ryan. At the moment we're playing it safe, playing a little bit cautious. We're not burning too much fuel. We want to keep our engine in a good standing. We don't want to run rich too much and overheat the engine and lose horsepower. That is actually a thing in F1 2017, something you need to micromanage a little bit at the power tracks. So that's what we're doing, only running rich on the straight after Radion and then this straight here. That's where we're running rich. Everywhere else is standard and lean. As we go into the bus stop for the 2nd time in this Belgian Grand Prix, Ryan has a massive lockup and he actually has to cut the chicane there at the bus stop, and that gives me the lead of the race. Thank you very much. Ryan is not one for making mistakes all too often, and that is a pretty big one right there. So yeah, didn't even have to make the move in the end there, and yeah, we take the lead. So guessing Ryan was feeling the pressure from behind. I was getting close in that bus stop section and just applied the brakes a little bit too heavily, leaned on the tyres too much, and that was game over. You can't lean on these ultra soft tyres all too much. The grip in this first stint is always very poor. But yeah, we're getting ready for a pit stop now. We are going to pit a lap early, and we're going to prevent Ryan from doing the undercut, which he did to me in the SRL League race. So we're learning from that, and we're going to be aggressive here. Go onto the soft compound tyres and run to the end of the race. We are expecting some rain, like I said, towards the end, and that actually might help me in terms of making it to the end, because we might switch to intermediate tyres with a few laps to go, who knows. 2.7 pit stop, that's alright, not too bad, but as we rejoin on the track, we only have Neon Tree Dome for company, so on the traffic side of things, wasn't too bad. We got off pretty lightly here, so hopefully we can negotiate this guy fairly quickly. Gets a bad run through Puon, completely falls off the circuit and gives me P6, so I'll definitely take that in a P6, and I think Ryan responds on the very next lap. We overtake him now and take the effective lead of the race. HO setting a fast lap, so pretty solid pace from him. He's gone for either a really early undercut or he started on the supers and is flying at this stage. But yeah, the only guys in front of us now are Poms to the win and I believe Warden, who started on the soft compound tyres. So yeah, we effectively have the lead of this race, but the problem is now Ryan has fresher tyres, and on the balance of things might be a little bit quicker than what I am for the rest of this race. But we're going to have to micromanage that and make sure that he doesn't get too close, and just try and make sure he doesn't get within 1 second for as long as we can. We're now catching up to the back of Poms to the win now, and we catch him on lap 10. But yeah, we'll see if we can get DRS, a bit of slipstream, and soar past him on the Camel Straight. I hope I got that right. I'm terrible when it comes to naming corners and names for Silverstone and Spa. In the slipstream of Poms though, we weren't close enough, so I didn't bother sticking it in rich revs. So we're going to have to follow him through this middle sector, which is going to be really painful, to be honest. Poms has been on those tyres for 10 laps and his pace isn't going to be that great. So we shape a move to the inside, hoping that maybe something would you know, present itself up the inside there. Really nice run through No Name, and this should be an easy move up the inside into Puon. 6th gear, job done, and that is P2. So a bit of time lost there. We've lost about a second or two to New Zealand Ryan. You can see he is well and truly within DRS now. He's going to be making a move on Poms now. as we head on to lap 11 going into turn 1. New Zealand Ryan actually goes for a move here, and I think Poms actually ran out a little bit wide and onto the curb and had a really bad exit. New Zealand Ryan actually ran into the back of him and chipped off a little bit of his front wing. So that's completely ruined his race. I think he was just a bit impatient there, trying to get in front of Poms, and he's paid the price. I above all else, wanted to make sure that I got past Poms, cautiously, got past him safely and cleanly as well. But yeah, Ryan probably rushed it a little bit too much and unfortunately paid the price for that. So for the rest of the race, we got the gap out to like 6 seconds to Ryan, and then all of a sudden Warden pitted onto super soft tyres and was just setting the whole circuit alight with fastest laps. And with the rain ever looming, I was getting very, very nervous. The track grip was really starting to diminish, and so I just backed it off. I backed it off so much to the point where it was almost silly. 6th gear through Puon. It is ridiculous. And now as we head into the bus stop now for the penultimate time, look at how conservative I am on the brakes. I am not going to make a mistake with just a lap and a little bit to go before getting my first AOR victory. Believe it or not, I did 4 seasons, I think. Maybe 5 seasons. Yeah, it was 4 seasons on AOR. Didn't get a single race win. But today we have the opportunity to get our first, and I was not about to let this one slip. As we go through this final lap here, it is wet enough now for intermediate tyres, but on the balance of things, if you pit now for inters, you're absolutely stupid and you'll throw away the race win. So I was only going to pit if we lost DRS with about 3 laps to go. Otherwise, we were going to risk it to the end and stay out. So yeah, you wouldn't believe how nervous I was, how tense I was, just trying to micromanage this to the end of the race, making sure I didn't make any mistakes. Watch now as we go through Blanchimont now, completely lifting off in 8th gear. That is normally flat out, but I just was not taking any risks now as we go into the bus stop chicane. This should be our race win to take here in Spa. We might have bottled the last race in Hungary, but we are not going to bottle this one. First race win in AOR, and there it is. We are now in the championship fight. So there we go, guys. That is the race. That is the first 2 races of AOR Oceana. Thank you guys so much for watching. If we could smash, say, 3,000 likes on this video, that would be well and truly appreciated. I know I may not be as fast as like Brendan Lee or the Flying Finn or RG Matiz, but I am trying to, I don't know, better myself in terms of just raw pace on this game. I've been practicing a little bit more than what I normally would, say at the end of last year, and it's starting to you know, it's starting to show a little bit. So hopefully, as each week, you know, sort of progresses, we can get better and better, and yeah, just see where we can take this. But driver standings, we are 2nd place, 3 points behind New Zealand Ryan. Obviously, not finishing on the podium there in the first race has cost me a little bit, but 2nd in the standings is nothing to be ashamed of. And hopefully, yeah, we'll see where we go next week. We had a really good result in SRL for the other league that I did in Italy, and yeah, that sets a really good foundation for what we can do in AOR Italy as well. So we'll see how it goes. Honourable mentions to Warden99 for finishing 2nd after being pretty much last at the start of the Grand Prix. Shout out to him, and also shout out to Poms for the win as well, who managed to finish in P5, which is, you know, an amazing result for him in this league. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sign-ups are open for this league. F1, F2, and on the PS4 side as well. There are still plenty of spots available. This is a newly established league, and your best chance of getting in is now, to be honest, because like I said, this has just started up, and yeah, spots will quickly fill up now that I've kind of advertised it. There's also live streams for this as well, so I'll leave a link to the live stream if you want to watch me live while it's happening. Sunday mornings for you in the UK. In Australia, it'll be Sunday nights, 7 p.m. Queensland, 8 p.m. Sydney and Melbourne time for daylight savings. But yeah, there's commentators, there's other people from the community, in the chat just like commenting, and it's a pretty good experience. So if you want to get involved, links are in the description, and I think that's all that there is pretty much to say. Off to AOR Italy next week, where hopefully again we can be on the podium. Until then, I'll see you next time.